Hey y'all, hey, I'm back with another video. So let me tell y'all, I had to do this old school. I had to pull out my tripod and throw my camera on here. So I'm sorry if it's a little bit off, but I was so annoyed. I couldn't even wait to hop on my actual computer and do this. Let me start off. Let's have a quick conversation. We ain't gonna be here a long time because, to be quite honest, this is something that I have already talked about on my channel about 4 to 5 different times. And this is around Melissa Ford being on the Joe Budden podcast. Now, let me say before I start, as I always say, well, I mean, we all have the right to our opinion. But I want to be very clear. I have been paying for Patreon for the last 2 years. So when I say I know what I'm talking about, I know what I'm talking about because I viewed everything in totality. I am a paying customer, so I also can say whatever the fuck I want to say. So I just want to start there by saying I am subscribed to Patreon. So when I'm talking about this, I know what the fuck I'm talking about. Yesterday, last night, because I just recently started to, on Twitter, I just recently got to the Joe Budden TV community little thing or whatever. I just joined that not that long ago. So I popped in, I popped in every now and again to see what they be talking about. Last night I go on and everybody and their mama is dogpiling on Mel. Not dogpiling. Normally there are comments about Mel, but it was just non-stop. And so I saw that somebody said, oh, well, they just dropped a 10-minute video on Patreon with Mark and Mel. So before I clicked on it, I'm thinking it's maybe an extended part of the Mark and Ian show, whatever that they did. But before I even clicked on the video, I'm like, hold on. I've seen these outfits before. I'm like, this is from a couple of days ago. This has to be from a couple of days ago. And mind you, the video is 10 minutes long. It's only 10 minutes. And this is important to me. I'm going to come back to this, right? And the video says, I think Mark and Mel resolve or work through some issues and come to a resolve or some bullshit or whatever bullshit y'all tried to put in the title to try to make it come off better. Bullshit. Watch the video. Now I'm gonna tell y'all, I'm not here to defend Mel in the sense of what specifically happened in that video. Mark said what he said. We all know that Mel is a little sensitive. You know what I mean? She's the only woman up there, and not just that. It ain't really even, it's that, but she's just a sensitive person, right? So I'm not even here to go back and forth or debate or go off about whatever it is that Mark said to Mel. I don't care about that. What I care about is the fact that the sentiment since Mel has been on this show. And I also want to say this really fast because I don't do this a lot. But I really want to give a shout out to the men that watch the Joe Budden podcast that have sense. That aren't incels, that isn't part of the red pill community. I want to thank y'all because y'all are the reason that I have hope in the world. You guys are the reason that I stay. Because thank God, there is a decent amount of well-thinking men that watch this fucking show that can see it for what it is. Because a lot of times, because I'm a woman, if I say it, y'all don't listen to me. Y'all don't hear it. Y'all feel like, oh, she's a woman defending another woman. But when a man or men say something to another man, y'all tend to take it in and y'all are more likely to listen. That's just the facts of the matter. So I want to start off by saying I want to thank y'all because the sentiment since Mel has been on this show, specifically the last year or so, and this is not just from women, the sentiment is that, and that they play on it all the time on the show, is that y'all dogpile on Mel. Y'all do. And the fact of the matter is we've had multiple episodes where y'all admit that Mel probably gets the most jokes out of everybody. I remember there was an episode, I can't remember, but they were going around the room. I think it was a Patreon because Imani said that he felt like he got joked on the most out of everybody. And what everybody came to the consensus is that Mel is really the one that gets it the most. And then maybe Joe and Ish is somewhere in between there. And they all agreed to that. They also all agreed to the fact that for the most part, Mel knows how to take a joke. For the most part, she does. Even Ice said that part of the reason why he's trying to pull back, which we'll get to Ice in a second, or why he had to kind of calm down a little bit, is because he sees the way that people go in on Mel and how she takes it. So let's start there. 95% of the time y'all are joking on Mel, and I would say 90% of the time she laughs and she lets it roll off her back. But when you're constantly picking at somebody time and time and time and time and time again, out of 100 times, maybe 95 they might be okay, but there might be 5 that they're just simply annoyed. So my issue with the whole 10-minute video is this in particular. Why was that portion of the episode not left in the original episode that went up? Let's say that happened later on after the actual pod was done. It doesn't matter. Y'all still had cameras rolling. The same way that y'all spliced it out to make a 10-minute video is the same way you could have left it in there. The reason why I am annoyed is because I think, and I put this on the community and I put this in the comments, for Joe and Ian or whoever to specifically splice out a 10-minute clip where everybody is pretty much going in on Mel, and the whole point of the video is Mel can't take accountability, Mel this, Mel that, and I will agree with y'all that Mel has a hard time taking accountability, but I'm trying to understand what the fuck was the point of splicing out? I've been watching Patreon for 2 years. They have yet to do that. To splice out a 10 to 15 minute fucking conversation about like honing in on what's wrong with one fucking person and then putting it up. To me, that is Joe and Ian and whoever else makes decisions there, lining Mel up to get dragged. Even in the clip, Joe as normal is being antagonistic and he's like literally like starting shit like he always does. Fine, whatever, that's what Joe does. But my thing is, I'm not even mad at the segment. I'm mad that y'all specifically isolated it and put it up on its own. And y'all did that because y'all knew for a fact the way that the comments were going to drag Mel. And my question is, what the fuck is the point of that? What is the point of specifically lining Mel up in that way for people to drag her? Because you know they are. That's why you spliced it that way. That's why you cut out a specific 10-minute video and posted it days after it happened specifically about Mel. When have y'all ever done that before? When have y'all ever taken a conversation that was specifically about one person and put it up at its own individual video? Again, like I said, if they would have just left it in a normal course of the pod, then whatever, because it happened on camera. But there was an effort to cut it out of the video and put it up days later separately. That's up. I don't care what nobody said. That's fucked up. When Joe and them knew the response that they were going to get from that. That's why y'all put it up. So to say, if they come out later and say, oh, well, we didn't think anything about it, y'all know damn well. And Mel has talked about this before. That's why I gave all of y'all, a lot of the men, a shout out at the beginning, because I'm about to get into this part. Mel has brought up how a decent portion of the JBP's fan base are red pill incel niggas. That's a fact of the matter. You can tell by the comments, the way that people even on Twitter, on the community talk about Mel, the words that they use. They're constantly calling her a whore when she does nothing but sit there and talk. And she's constantly called a whore, which I think part of the conversation that they were having is about the way that Mel is viewed. And Mel's problem was that, Mark, you're not really helping to a degree with some of the things that you're saying. I think all of them play a part into that. Mel is honed in on, first of all, from the very beginning, because she's the only woman on a fucking male-dominated podcast. So already she has it stacked against her in a way that the rest of y'all don't. And I understand what Ish is saying, because Ish does. I will say the people that get the most hell online would be Mel and Ish. But the biggest difference is that Ish, as Imani pointed out before, Ish gets shitted on for the actual takes that come out of his mouth. That's for the most part where it starts. And then everything else falls underneath. For Mel, not all. Let me be clear, not all. But for that red pill incel, it starts with the fact that she's a woman in a male-dominated space. Because what the hell do you not agreeing with Mel Ford's take on music or an actor or even a relationship? What does that have to do? Why does she have to be a whore? I saw whore about 30 times in the comments for that 10-minute video that had nothing to do with sex. Nothing to do with her promiscuous, about how many people she sleeps with. Nothing. And she was just called a whore 15,000 times. And you, Joseph Anthony Budden, as the fucking employer, and Ian Schwartzman, y'all laid the foundation for the attack to come to her. That's why I'm annoyed. I'm fucking tired of it. And let's separately move on. So my second point to that is, and I put this in the comment too, is if this is the route that we're taking, then I need a whole 10-minute dedicated separate video with us dogpiling on why the fuck Ice is so sensitive. And this is the thing. I know I pick on Ice. I won't say I pick on, but I talk about Ice a lot. But the reason I use Ice as an example is because to me, he is the clear definition on that show of the double standard that y'all have. And especially when it fucking comes to Mel. Y'all say all the time that y'all give her special grace and special this and special that. And maybe behind the scenes, because I don't know what the fuck y'all do behind the scenes. Maybe behind the scenes y'all do. But on camera, let's be very clear. Every single last one of you niggas tiptoe around Ice. And y'all have even admitted on camera that y'all don't joke with Ice. Y'all don't say anything because y'all know how sensitive he is. Let's give you an example, right? So when they just did that episode recently, right, where Ice wasn't sitting there, but they started making jokes about his beard or whatever, right, and the whole little black polish that he was using. On the behind the scenes, when we see them like putting a whiteboard together, Ice starts pretty like snapping out. He was like, I know that y'all was back here talking about me. If y'all not gonna say it to my face, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And you want to know what all of the guys said? First of all, before Ice came back, Joe was like, we have to stop. We have to stop. We have to stop. We can't do that. We can't do that. And then when Ice started to pretty much like not attack, but started to confront everybody just became mute. And now Flip is like, oh, well, my bad. I didn't mean it like that, bro. Y'all constantly tiptoe around Ice when it comes to how fucking sensitive it is that he is. And yes, I'm not saying that it's never been pointed out, but it's the fact that y'all consciously are sensitive about that and tiptoe around that. And in the minute that y'all bring it up for all of 5 seconds because that nigga get in his fucking feelings. And y'all never hold that nigga's feet to the fire the way y'all do Mel about how sensitive he is. So this is my thing. If this is how we're gonna handle Mel, if we're gonna be splicing out 10-minute videos so that the audience can jump on her back and tell her how wrong she is and how terrible of a person she is, then I need a 10-minute segment video on Ice about why the fuck he's so sensitive. I need a 10-minute video for Ish on why the fuck he's not really friends with y'all outside of the show, pressing him about that even more than you already have. I need a 10-minute video on every single person of y'all specifically dogpiling on that person about why they're not good for this show or why they're this or why they're that. And I need you to put it out as a standalone video. That's fucking trash. I need to know, where the fuck is the HR person? And this is why I've been saying forever that y'all need either another woman on this show, or y'all need better HR. Period. People, like somebody said, one of the biggest criticisms for this podcast is the way that y'all treat Mel. And y'all thought that singling Mel out in a 10-minute video and putting it up helps the narrative of y'all not dogpiling on Mel when that's what the fuck y'all do? In what world does that make fucking sense? Again, I don't even have a problem with whatever Mark and Mel talked about. This is the thing. I have done multiple videos on my channel. One of my biggest Joe Budden podcast videos has to do with the whole bitch box episode with Ice and Mel. That was one of the biggest videos that I have talking about this shit. And in that video, I talked about how Mel has a hard time with accountability. That's not the problem here. Even in that episode, Ish said it's a mind fuck because we can't say anything to you because if we do, then we're dogpiling. That's not it. And this is another thing too that kills me. You niggas are so selective about what y'all read when it comes to Mel. Because for the most part, it's not the fact that because y'all say something to her that y'all don't agree with, that people feel like y'all are dogpiling on her. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the fact that it be 5v1 on a topic. It's never 1v1. It's never 2v1. It's 5v1. Mel can say something from a woman's perspective, and then all 5 of y'all will take 10 minutes to, number one, not even let her get out her point, like Flip did during this video when she's trying to talk, which is something else we always say. Y'all cut her off and then y'all start dogpiling. Oh, shut up, you don't know what you're talking about. Oh, this, oh, that. That's what people are talking about. We're not talking about the fact that y'all don't agree with her. Clearly, y'all are not going to agree with her. That's part of the reason why she's good on this, so that y'all can have that discourse of woman versus man. But the problem is that, number one, nobody's allowing her to get her full thought out. And number two, it's all 5 of y'all, or however many people, men there is in there, jumping on her at the same time about one fucking topic. Y'all don't give her the space and the grace to fucking talk. That's what we're talking about when we're talking about dogpiling. And this in particular, and like somebody said, I'm going back to Ice's ass for a second. Ice in the corner for this video with his fucking pom-poms, as somebody said, is hilarious to me. It's hilarious. It's so fucking funny because, again, like I said, Ice is the most sensitive fucking person on this podcast. Nobody can say anything to him without him catching an attitude. Not one thing. Mel does a much fucking better job at taking a joke than Ice does. She does a much better job of sitting there in her shit, even when she's upset. Now, there might be times where she walks away, but a lot of times when you can say one thing to Ice and his whole energy shifts. I don't get that with Mel. She may be a little annoyed, but eventually she's gonna laugh it off and keep it going. Y'all are not holding everybody on this pod to the same damn thing. And I'm going back to my original question. If we're going to take a 10-minute spliced video and hold Mel accountable, it needs to be done for every fucking person. Joe and Ian, I don't give a fuck. Y'all are trash for that. Complete trash. And at this point, like somebody said, y'all are borderlining on fucking red pill shit. And it's been like that for a while, but y'all are borderlining even harder at this point because the last few weeks to months of this pod has been real fucking shady if it wasn't for Mark being on this bitch. And I think the thing with Mel, I don't necessarily feel like Mel wanted Mark to agree with her all the time. I do feel like Mel thought that Mark coming on the show, she had a little bit more of a friend because this is no disrespect to the other niggas on the JBP, but y'all are barbershop conversation ass niggas. Y'all don't do research. Y'all don't read. You don't really look into shit. Y'all just, as Joe says all the time, we just sit up here and just say shit without facts. So with Mark being there, I think Mel probably felt better in the sense of she wasn't in this ridiculous old style man cave. There was a man there that could actually understand from outside of the typical traditional heterosexual fucking view of shit. That's why I felt like she thought she, like, you know, had a friend a little bit in there. So again, this is not to take accountability away from Mel. Yes, Mel is sensitive. Yes, Mel is this, Mel is that. But what the fuck was the point of putting up a 10-minute video specifically about calling her out about that shit? It don't make sense because you don't do it for no one else. I need Mel Ford to get the fuck off of this podcast. Not because I don't like her on it. Not because I think that she's bad on it. For her own mental sanity, she needs to go. It's enough. It's enough at this point. And y'all in the comments talking about oh, well, we need to bring Mona, like when Mona came up there. Fuck out of here, because Mona will be there all of 1 month. Y'all be her best friend. And then by month 2, she'll be a whore just like Mel. Y'all mad because when Joy Taylor came up there, Mel wanted to ask the fucking obvious question about the damn lawsuits. Y'all sit up there as men on this show and talk about the type of woman that Joy Taylor allegedly is, which is the type of bitch that's gonna run around and lie. Literally, allegedly said that she's going to lie on her boss and say that he's asked her if she didn't get what she wanted. Y'all literally drag a woman on y'all platform for that. But y'all invite a woman that's been alleged of that, and then when it's time to question her about it, now everybody got a problem? I'm gonna tell you something right now. If Mel was not on this show permanently and Mel was just like a guest or whatever, of course she would be treated much differently. Of course she would. Of course she would. Mel's a baddie. Y'all would treat her just like y'all treat any of the other baddies that come up here. It's trash, it's trifling, and y'all need fucking help. Over it.